Welcome to Your Bookkeeping Matters. I'm Lisa Turner, bringing you short and snackable weekly episodes on bookkeeping and business matters in an easy to understand way so you can be in control and confident that you know your bookkeeping matters. Let's dive into this week's episode. Hello to you on this sunny and happy day wherever you might be listening from. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. It is following on from last week's That's a Write-Off, isn't it? Where I went through what a write-off actually is. It's not everything that you buy or pay for and you don't physically get paid back. And so in today's short and snackable show, I am going to share with you some write-offs or business expenses that are very often missed because you might not know that you can claim them or you might not be paying some of them. I'll clarify that later. Again, this episode has a bit of inspiration sprinkled through from the hilarious TV show Schitt's Creek because I love the show and the write-off scene in one of the episodes is going to be around forever. First things first, a super quick recap of what a write-off is. It is a business expense that reduces your taxable income and therefore you have less income tax to pay to the ATO here in Australia or wherever you're joining me from. If you're not in Australia, these expenses or categories might not be relevant for you, so be sure to do your own local research on these, of course. If you're not familiar with write-offs or how expenses work, it might be a good idea to pause this and dive back one episode and then come back here to me. Now, I work with a lot of creatives, e-commerce stores and entrepreneurs, so the expenses I'm going to remind you to claim, if they're relevant to you, are pretty common in those areas, and there will be others in different industries. Let's start off with a hot topic here in Australia at the end of each financial year, and that is home office expenses. There have been some recent changes with the ATO, the Australian Tax Office, which landed with two different ways that you can claim. Now, it might seem like the obvious thing here. Of course you want to claim expenses for working from home because it is so much more common these days. Well, why is it something I want to call out that you don't miss it? Because honestly, there are a lot of listeners who didn't know they could claim them. Maybe because they paid for the items personally, thought they couldn't claim them for some reason, or they're new to the small business world. When it comes to bookkeeping, expenses, and the nitty-gritty, I don't ever presume that an owner knows something. I'll always step them through it. I'll take a step back. If you're new to small business, what are home office or work from home expenses? If you could picture this. If Moira Rose from the TV show was to write some memoirs, to sell some books, doing them from her home, which is actually the hotel room, and then she had a little chat with her friend Jocelyn, who gives her the good news about a fascinating concept called a home office, where one can claim business expenses as write-offs. These are the costs you have paid that relate to supporting running your business from home. However that looks for you, because everyone's home setup is a little bit different. There might be your phone and internet costs, your printing and stationery, your energy like your electricity and gas. A very big disclaimer here, most of these items you can't claim 100% of the home cost, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of the how, why, what of claiming home office expenses because there are a couple of different methods here in Australia, and that's all in a tax agent's scope, not mine, because it depends on your personal circumstances here, and only your tax agent or your tax accountant can advise you here. My message today is whichever way you need to claim, don't miss out. it can actually be quite a sticky area. So I strongly urge you to not DIY your tax returns and get a tax agent to take care of your returns so they can work out with you which is the most effective method for you to claim. They'll make sure you don't miss out. I do have a special blog coming up soon on this topic. Make sure you follow me on Instagram or are on my numbers list to catch when this one is released. What's next that you don't want to miss as a write-off? Insurances. And there are a couple of reasons that insurances get missed. The first one, which is very dangerous, you don't have any. When new clients come on board with my practice, we run our eyes through looking for insurances to make sure there is some. If you're in this boat without any insurance, get in touch with an insurance broker stat and find out which insurances you need for your business and get that underway. Please don't tell yourself you're too small or you don't need insurance. If the worst were to happen, it doesn't matter how big or small you are, the financial damage will be the same and could be utterly disastrous, let alone the stress and all the downtime that's involved with it. The other way I see business owners missing claiming insurance expenses is the opposite of not having any. They were so organised, it was one of the very first steps when setting up their business before even opening any business bank accounts. So the insurance payments are coming out of their personal bank account and they forgot and didn't change the debit over to the new business bank account and don't pop it through their list of expenses, so they're forgetting to claim it. And also the bookkeeper never knows about it because it's not coming out of a business bank account that they're looking after the numbers for. So now you know why I check for insurance transactions, to make sure you have some and that the payments are coming out of your business bank account. If this isn't another golden reason why you need separate business bank accounts, well, what's another super common expense that we find gets missed a lot? Merchant fees. Fees from your payment providers and bank fees. If you're not using accounting software and running a manual spreadsheet of expenses, these are missed all the time because they come out of your bank account. You forget to manually include them in your list of expenses. How do you avoid this? Use accounting software, my friend. But now you know to check for this. You can, if you must, and add them to your spreadsheet. Merchant fees are a little trickier. If you have a traditional merchant facility, that is a bank EFTPOS machine, they generally debit your bank account separately monthly for the merchant fees. So keep an eye out for those on the bank transactions and be sure to claim them. These days though, and most of my clients, most of the merchant facilities are all online. I'm talking your Shopify payments, Stripe, PayPal, Afterpay, all those different merchant providers. Some, not all of these, can be recorded automatically in your accounting software if you have it set up correctly and with different bank feeds. And the ones that can't be automated need to be added in manually at the end of each month or quarter. Now, these fees, they don't always affect your bottom line or your treasured profit, so they might not have an overall impact on your taxable income if you miss them, but your sales figures will be wrong, and oftentimes GST you claim, if you're registered, will then also be wrong, as not all of these providers have GST in their fees. Also, you want to see these fees in your expenses split out so you know how much you're paying in fees. If you're not entering them, you're seeing a smaller amount of revenue than you should, sales, and you don't know how much you're paying in merchant fees. Now, if you don't separate your business from your personal using separate bank accounts, this is a dangerous way to look after your finances. There are literally loads of expenses you could miss because you're combing through so many transactions. It's easy to miss some. Software subscriptions is another one that is often not claimed because you either miss it when you're scrolling through or because the debit is coming out of your personal bank account. Now, I don't see these ones missed myself a lot because I remind our clients to send them through and we account for every single bank transaction and reconcile them. But if you're DIYing your books, some old stats from the ATO suggest that these expenses are easily and often missed. For creatives, things like your professional memberships and art or craft supplies used in the business, maybe in your design process. And for e-commerce business owners, your e-commerce platform fees like Shopify, it might be coming off your personal credit card and you've forgotten and not claimed it. Also product samples and packaging supplies. So at the end of the day, you need to keep accurate records of all your purchases and you hopefully won't miss claiming any. And don't forget you need to keep those invoices or receipts as you might think of them. A hot tip for you, if you've recently started your business and haven't yet launched, you still need to track all your startup expenses. You don't need to wait until you have launched and opened the doors, if they're physical or virtual, or even until you're profitable. If you would like some more help and information on what expenses are, tracking them, and things you need to do to set yourself up for success in your business, jump on the waitlist for my digital training, Bookkeeping Matters Blueprint, over at accountedforyou.com.au/BMB, which I'll link in the show notes. You'll be the first to know when the doors next open. Okay, you guys, I'm seriously so excited you joined me for a fabulous episode of Your Bookkeeping Matters. It's been such a blast hanging out with you. And trust me, I know a thing or two about expenses. But let's be real, they matter. So don't miss these opportunities, okay? They can save you some serious cash. But if you've got questions about your business, taxes are not my thing. Schedule a hot date with your trusty tax agent. Now we've wrapped up this episode to help you learn and grow your business the right way and know your numbers. I love that journey for you. Running your own business certainly is a journey. Jump in and subscribe to the show, and I would be so grateful if you left a review. Thanks for popping me in your ears. I'll catch you in the next episode. Be well.